Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session about governmental funding. My name is Ami Levin. I'm heading the European department at the Foreign Trade Administration. This is part of the Ministry of Economy and Industry in Israel. I've been doing this for a while, I have to say. I'm sort of a colleague of what Marcus is doing for Austria in Israel. I had 2 terms of service outside of Israel as a commercial counselor, as a commercial attaché in Geneva. I guess it makes me relevant for this session with the DAC countries, and then in Spain. The Foreign Trade Administration is the governmental agency in charge of representing Israel abroad. As you know, we are promoting our exports, attracting investment, and generally speaking, facilitating our contacts with the world markets, with the view, of course, of promoting Israel and collaboration. Today, we will be focusing on what government can do for startups, and from the governmental side, focusing on services and funding. I think with Marcus and Nir, that will be presenting themselves. We have 2 interesting aspects that are not the same exactly. Participants can send questions via the chat. Daniel, I see that you have joined via video, and of course you are welcome to join in case you want to add to the conversation. Of course, no problem with that. We have 20 minutes. I believe it's plenty. With that, I will give the floor to Marcus. I believe that you have some slides to share.
Good.
So take it from here, Marcus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ami. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Good. Now we're here. Yes. You see that's Apple strudel? So, do you see it?
We have the presentation.
So this is just a connection. Actually, there is a marvelous Apple strudel place also here in Tel Aviv. A friend of mine, Stefan, has opened it. It's called Stefan Gelato. I hope you will check it out. Now, briefly for myself, I work here as commercial counselor. Have been to other amazing places like New York as well, and Austria and India, and thriving places. Now, what do we do here in Israel? We scout for trend and innovation know-how. We, as a part of the Chamber of Commerce in Austria, provide these information tailor-made to Austrian companies. And we support Austrian companies export worldwide. Now, we do have in Austria 50,000 companies that are working internationally, globally. And we have 100 offices worldwide, like this one in Tel Aviv. And that's the main point of my presentation, meaning you can, if you set up shop in Austria, if you work with those Austrian companies, you can rely on our network, on the global support. No matter where you go, no matter what your aim is, we will support you if you have a connection to Austria, if you work with Austrian companies or are set up in Austria. Now, connecting people, that's what we do. That's the core of our business. Now, only virtually, but yeah, one can't help it. Now, Austria, why think Austria? Austria has been named Vienna as the best place to start a business by Forbes magazine. That's not nobody. So there is a lot of funding around. Daniel, I think you've already touched upon it. We do have 2 organizations supporting newly created businesses with a research focus. That is the FFG, the Austrian Research and Promotion Agency, and Austria Wirtschaftsservice. So they do give non-repayable grants and also subsidized loans. And of course, you have the Vienna Business Agency. Daniel will talk a bit more about it. We've got great events in normal times. Go Austria is a 2 weeks program where you're taken to Austria to get a taste of it. It's organized by the Global Incubator Network. The Vienna Startup Package is then the 4 weeks program by the Vienna Business Agency. We've got the next big thing, I hope to have it happen, is the Vienna Up Festival in April, May next year. And if your business is into impact, then the Impact Days bring together with investors, and that's a big happening in June. And other events like the B2B software days out there as well. And that's just a snapshot of the ecosystem. I'm glad to talk to you whenever you want. I'm based in Tel Aviv. We can do Zoom. We can talk in private in a cafe. The weather is still fine. We can sit outside. So I'm available for you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Marcus. I hope we'll have time for follow-up questions afterwards. Certainly, I have one or two. Okay, but thank you very much for this presentation. With this, I will turn the floor to Nir Shaked from Israel. Nir will say a few words about Israel, but I can perhaps only present Israel by saying that it's part of the Israel Innovation Authority in charge of our innovation relationship with the European Framework Program. And I think Nir is an expert and the go-to-guy on everything that has to do with Israel participation in it. Very relevant to Israeli startup situations, including the trends on the new Green Deal. So please, with that, take it.
So thank you for this opportunity and presentation. So as you started to say, we're based on Innovation Authority, the Israel Innovation Authority, which provides diverse funding opportunities and solutions and support to Israeli research and development communities in all disciplines and all main industrial sectors. It covers also all the technology readiness level range. And Israel is ISERD is the Israeli government entity responsible for the European Research and Development Program. And most of you maybe know it by its current name, Horizon 2020. And myself, I'm a national contact point, an NCP for the agriculture and health sectors in Israel. And most of the workers at ISERD, like myself, my colleagues, are responsible for specific sectors such as transport, energy, ICT space, etc. And so what's the framework program? What's the European Framework Program? It's the EU's main research and innovation public funding tool since 1984. And Israel joined it in 1996 and is very active and successful ever since. The framework program goal is to strengthen European scientific research and European industry and keep it competitive worldwide and address major European social challenges by funding technology research and development such as health and food security. And ISERD's role is to promote Israeli participation in the program as much as possible. So the current framework program is Horizon 2020. It's the 8th, and it began in 2014. It will end this year, and it offered approximately 77 billion euros for research and development project in the past 7 years. And the next framework program is called Horizon Europe. It is expected to begin in 2021 and to last another 7 years until 2027, with a budget of approximately 100 billion euros for funding research and development. All these countries, this is where all the money is coming from, all these countries contribute funds respective to their GDP for the right to participate. So there are 28 European member states and 16 associated countries like Israel, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland. UK was a member state and will apparently be an associated country in the next framework program. And who can participate? So every legal entity established in one of those countries, university, industry, small, medium enterprise, large industry, government, municipality, all can join a consortium and be eligible for funding. And the most important thing to know about Horizon 2020, and the reason it is relevant to this event today, is the main eligibility criteria for submission of a proposal for a research and innovation project, which is that at least 3 different entities, any entities from at least 3 different member states or associated countries from all the flags you see before you should form a consortium together to address a cold challenge as a group with one leading organization, which is a coordinator who submits the proposal on behalf of the group. And it can be more than 3 out of 3, but it has to be minimum 3 out of 3. And don't have a lot of time, so let's jump to the European Green Deal. So what is the European Green Deal and what are its goals? So the Green Deal is Europe's new long-term growth strategy to transform Europe into a resource-efficient and competitive economy with 0 net emissions of greenhouse gases by 2050. And it is Europe's plan to make the EU's economy sustainable by turning climate and environmental challenges into opportunities and making the transition just and inclusive for all. And they're offering right now 1 billion euros worth funding in a call which is comprised of 3 different call topics divided into 10 areas you see before you, like mitigating climate change or clean, affordable energy, circular economy, smart mobility, farm to fork, biodiversity, zero pollution, and so on. So it covers a lot. And what we're offering right now is for anyone who's interested in things, who has something to contribute and is looking for partners to collaborate with, to contact us, to register on our partner search database. And these are our contact details, and we'll disseminate through the organizer this presentation later. And you can also, right now, just Google Eastern European Green Deal, and you'll have all the information you need in order to prepare yourself for submission. So thank you. I hope I was on time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nir, for this interesting presentation. We have a couple of minutes for follow-up questions, and I try to pose the same question to everybody. And I take advantage that the Vienna representative is also with us, so maybe you can contribute, Daniel. Try to maybe summarize, how do you see the main obstacles for startups to be assisted by your services? What are the obstacles mainly, and what exactly you're trying to do in order to tackle them? Marcus, what do you think are the problems facing startups, mainly in Israel, to collaborate with Austrian corporates, and how do you see yourself and your organization tackling those problems?
Daniel, will you start, or shall I?
Please take the floor, right, Marcus.
Well, I see that many Israeli startups, they just have one market in their eye, and that is the US. However, one who has been to the US also knows that the US is not only one market, but 50 different, although they all speak the same language. Now, with the advantage you have with Austria is that we are world leaders in very specific sectors. In the transport sector, for example, I've just posted 2 links on the renewable energy and environmental technologies, where Austrian companies are really leading. And I think the advantage Israeli startups can have is to collaborate with those companies. They are B2B. They're providing mainly technology, machinery, electrical, mechanical machinery, test equipment. So to integrate the knowledge from the Israeli startups, the software, IT know-how, and then grow with them, have their products placed in strategic hardware, and to go global with them. And that can be done in a very fast way if you choose the right partner. And our organization, we're here to help you identify the right partners and where your know-how can be put. So use the Austrian companies, their machines, as a platform for your know-how to go global.
Daniel, you would like to add to that?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to take one step back and would like to pick up this quote Marcus mentioned before, that Forbes identified Vienna as one of the most, or the most business, or the place which is most friendly to found a business. There was an interesting detail in that survey, because it said Vienna allows mistakes. So what does that mean? It says that living costs and general costs are still so quite medium compared to other European destinations, that if you fail, and let's be open, especially among startups, the failing percentage is not the lowest, you still can start again, start over. So this is something I really want to place. Before I go more into detail of the funding schemes, Vienna is very proud on offering a sum of 35 million euros in cash onto the hands of all sorts of entrepreneurial investors. This can be a startup, but it can be a mid-sized company, and even large corporations can file for subventions and for incentives. And this is the same direction as Marcus indicated before, the topics of sustainability, but also innovation and research and these things are met. So Vienna sees itself definitely as a place where on the one side knowledge meets up, but on the other side, due to the stable conditions and the medium costs, this can grow. So you do not have to raise millions and hundreds of thousands of euros just to earn your living, but you can start at a decent level, maintaining your costs, and invest more in your venture. And this is actually a little bit talking about the secret ingredients of chocolate cakes, etc., as Gillian mentioned before, what makes Vienna special. As for the funding scheme, so the main condition basically is you have to have a legal person in Vienna. This can be a limited, but can be something smaller as well. This is the main condition. And that you have to present a project which hasn't been realized yet. So if you already have invested partially or to some extent in your business venture, these are more or less lost funds. These we cannot replace. But if a company presents itself, and I would like to stress this is for Viennese companies, but any company which intends to come to Vienna, we already consider as Viennese companies. So it's definitely explicitly also for foreign companies. You can hand in English for these funding schemes, so not even the language is a barrier. And if you plan to, it can be a market entry, it can be a development of a new service or a new product. It can also be a certain portion of a development. So if you already have a certain product or service developed to some point, you also can say, okay, we want to adapt it, for instance, for the European market, or we want to adapt it for a certain target audience. Even that can be an innovative and research-related process where funding could be interested. Also, maybe important to say is that this is really lost cash from the city perspective. So we're not a bank, and we're not a financial institution. So we don't work with loans, we don't work with guarantees, we don't take equity or these things. This is really cash we put onto the hands of entrepreneurs who want to start in Vienna. What is the incentive, or why does the city do this? Obviously, on the one side, it's a financial incentive as it is, but on the other side, and this is maybe the strategic perspective, which can be very decisive if entering a new when entering a new market, is that if other investors see, okay, this company already earn the reward of a city financing or a city incentive offered by the city of Vienna, then this could be something really serious, because our funding managers see business projects daily or weekly, like hundreds to thousands. And so they have a certain gut feeling, especially in regard to Vienna, but also the Austrian, but Central Eastern European market, where there's something in and where there may be something which still should be reviewed another time or so. So this is also should be like a little flag. Entrepreneurs who are new in town and need a certain publicity can say, okay, I have a funding of the city of Vienna. who's in as well. And Vienna has this reputation actually that there's always been a lack of capital and the lack of investors. This is not true. It's just a little bit more hidden and more discreet. But if there is an exciting business venture, which for instance is already partly financed, earned a city reward of a certain sum up to 250,000 euros, this obviously makes the start in Vienna even more easily.
Daniel, sorry that we're rushing it a bit. A lot of information,
yeah,
but it was really
sorry.
helpful. And I think you're right, it's a bit counterintuitive, not exactly what you would think about Vienna. Nir, if you can try to sum up, how do you see the challenges of Israeli entrepreneurs, startups, and even researchers in engaging with Israel at the moment? Are you happy with the situation? What are the challenges, and how do you believe that the organization is tackling them? We have 2 minutes for that, so try to be short. Okay.
Be very short. So I guess the two main challenges in participating in the European Framework Program and getting funded are one, build a consortium, find partners overseas and collaborate with them in order to build a strong group which represent a whole value chain in order to have a real chance to compete and get funded. And the other very hard challenge is to write a competitive proposal that has a chance to overcome and prevail others. And to tackle with it, so the second challenge, we're offering funding for consultancy agencies that give services in order to write successful proposals. So we're offering up to 30,000 shekels for 40,000 shekels of expenditures, and we are also offering our professional evaluators and the Israeli evaluators of the Innovation Authority, which are giving free services. If you submit your proposal 30 days ahead, you will get a free feedback from our evaluators. And regarding the first challenge, well, it is a great challenge, build a group and find partners. And we are trying a lot of ways. This is one of those ways, like speaking here and giving a chance to people to interact. But I can't say that anyone had nailed it yet anywhere in Europe. It is a challenge, and it's hard to put your foot in the door. And there's a positive feedback. Once you're doing it again and again. So the hardship is beginning, and we are offering whatever we can in order to help with that. So,
okay, thank you, Nir. I think it's helpful. If I can say, I know that at least in the local scene, the Innovation Authority has a lot of traction and is doing a lot to promote its activities, including the specific activities of Israel. So congratulations for that. Before concluding, because I believe that our time is up, and following up on what Nir has just said, I would like to mention that we, in the ministry, we operate a network of around 40 commercial representatives all over the globe, actually. As you can imagine, we are doing preparations to open a new office in the Gulf. We are expecting to open a new office, hopefully still in 2020 in Abu Dhabi, to support the new channels, the new markets that hopefully will be opened, and new business that will be created with the UAE. But of course, we have a global reach, and we support entrepreneurs and companies, including in access to the European framework programs. Horizon Europe will be, of course, the next big challenge. We should continue, I believe, the four of us and other people in our ecosystem. We should continue the conversation despite the hardships and the challenges that are imposed by the current sanitary and health crisis. Of course, it's altering the way we do things in a very profound manner, but this conference and other events that we attend, of course, daily, are a good sign that things are continuing, albeit in a different way. Maybe it's a good thing that we are moving into new things, new spaces, transforming and adapting. And I do hope that eventually we will be able to meet, whether it's in Tel Aviv or in Vienna or somewhere else in Europe, for real coffee, not virtual, and enjoy ourselves. So I'd like to thank you for joining me today, and thank you also the organizers for the opportunities. Stay safe, everybody, here in the panel and also in the audience. And thank you very much. Enjoy the conference.